Hello and welcome back to the Funky Penthouse. I've got something a little bit different today, and that is having a look at the process of coming up with a tune. Now normally when I make a video, I try to make a video where I've got a finished tune and I just play it on the sequencer, and then you listen to the tune and you go, oh yeah, I like that, or I don't like that, or whatever. But recently, since Christmas, I haven't really come up with anything new, and this happens from time to time. You just get stuck and you can't come up with any decent ideas. But then recently I have come up with one idea, but it's just one loop, and I've been struggling to come up with a B section to that loop. I suppose you might call that a verse and a chorus or something like that, but I tend to call them like A, B, C sections, because the kind of instrumental stuff that I'm doing until I maybe add lyrics is just A, B and C and that kind of thing. Now, obviously, I think this is quite a common thing amongst people doing synthy stuff, is that they do just come up with an 8-bar loop, play that for the whole song, mix bits in and out, and that kind of works with housey stuff. But recently I've been doing stuff more just like synth funk or boogie, or like this one's like a slow jam type thing. And with that, I find that you really do need a proper song structure to carry the interest throughout the song. Now, I was thinking about this and having a chat with some people that I know, and the songs that we could come up with where they do just work on one 4-bar loop or a 2-bar loop or something like that throughout the whole song, I could think of 3 examples. 2 that are successful and 1 that I don't think is successful. Now, the 2 that I think are successful are Shamise, She Can't Love You, which is but that's just such a banger of a loop that it just loops throughout the whole thing and you just love it the whole time. And there's a lot of variation on top of the loop. The other one is Zap, More Bounce to the Ounce. And again, that's one of those ones where it's just like a low down dirty groove and it just goes throughout the whole thing, but there's a lot of good stuff on the top of it. Now, one that I don't think is quite as successful is Get Lucky by Daft Punk. Now, that was obviously a massive hit, and it has got kind of verses and choruses, but the whole song's just 4 bars. And whereas the other ones have got really interesting bass lines or really interesting synth work and just like interesting different chords, I found that Get Lucky is just a bit too bog standard and it gets a bit dull as it goes on. Now, I'm sure that Daft Punk aren't too fussed about that because they've made their money out of it and they're sorted for that. But that's just my opinion on it. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. The stuff that we've got going on here, I'll play you the loop that I've got, which is the A section, which I'm happy with, and that's definitely staying in. So here we go. So there you go, you get the idea with that. So the drums are all drum tracks with different EPROMs in it, which is something that I'll show in another video. Then I have got the Moog on bass, I've got the CP doing a Rhodes sound layered up with the X5DR doing the pad, and that's basically it for this part of the song. Later on I'll show you I've got a lead that I'm going to do over the top. So I'll do something with that later on, but that's that A section there, and I'm happy with that. I think it's quite good, you know, and that's good. Now I'll show you some of the B sections that I've got on here. Now some of these I haven't actually listened to since I recorded them. So okay, here's the first one, and I think this one was an abject failure. So let's have a listen and see if you agree. So there you go, you get the idea with that. I think it's crap. But sometimes it's good to just get ideas down, and you can always overwrite them and delete them. So that was one of them. and you can hear there's mistakes in there with the bass playing and stuff like that, but I didn't correct those because I wasn't really happy with it. So let's see what else we've got in here. So that's the first one, C01 number 5. Let's see what this is. Forgive my playing with the left hand, so there you go. Anyway, so that's another one. I think that one's a bit better, although I'm still not entirely happy with the flow between the two of these sections, but that's something that you can work on. I'm not a proper musician, I'm not classically trained in any sense, so I just play what I think sounds right, and I think that I probably stumble a lot of the time because I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay, so here's another one. This one's one that I'm kind of more happy with, although again it's still a bit different. So I'll play the original loop leading into this next one. I'll fast forward it a bit so you don't have to listen to the whole thing. Okay, here we go. Okay, right, so now I think that one works a bit better. And then, have I got anything else on there? So what is that? That's the third B section that I come up with. But then I think I reused one of the earlier B sections, which was stolen from another tune of my own, and reused that. So I thought that this might work again. I'll play it and you can tell me what you think. So. So there you go. So I changed it a little bit at the end of that last section as opposed to the first one. So now I've kind of got an A, B and a C. I think the A is the strongest one. The B is pretty weak, but it might work as some kind of a bridge with an instrumental over the top or something. Then C's, I don't know, I think C's alright, but then it's just deciding how to do the tune. So I'd be interested to hear if you do want to comment down below, saying about how you do your tunes, how you write your tunes, and then just be interesting to have a discussion about that, really, and if you get stuck in the same way, and if you use bits of different compositions and paste them together. Yeah. Anyway, I'll set up the camera on the tripod now, and then I'll just show you what I'm actually playing, just so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is the chords. So there you go, that's the tune so far. I don't really know much about music theory other than to say that it's kind of a cheat. I don't know if this is cheating or not in terms of passing between sections, but every section starts on, so then the first one's, the second one's, the third one is. So if somebody can tell me what that means, then cheers, that would be good. Yeah, so that's it. And I thought I'd just mention it as well in terms of how I come up with ideas. I know that some people will be out and about and then an idea will come to them fully formed. Whereas with myself, the only way that I come up with ideas is by playing, and then it's like you capture the idea as it comes out. So you just, I'm not a great player, but you'll just... Anyway, as you can see, I'm not a great player, but you'll come up with a little idea, so I think I probably just went... I think that was how this tune started, and I thought, oh, that's interesting, I could probably work that into something. And then you capture the idea, and then from there you kind of elaborate and build around it. And another thing is, I always start with the chords. Some people start with the bass lines if they're funkster. Some people start with melodies and lyrics. Obviously I'm not a vocalist or anything like that. But anyway, so yeah, that's it really. That's all I wanted to talk about. I'd be interested to know again in the comments down below how you come up with your ideas. If you have an idea come fully formed, or if you play like myself, or however you do it. And yeah, I'll just leave you with this little bit on the way out, and then I might add a little bonus track on the end, just so that you can see some of the ideas I've stolen from another tune. So yeah. Oh yes, one final thing. You will notice that it's in a different key. I can't play in different keys, but I do have a transpose button on the ASQ10, and I'll often program in a tune and then transpose it and decide how I like it. So this, that will be 2 semitones lower than in the actual tune. Yeah, so there you go, cheers.